Welcome to the Mild Opinion Podcast. I'm Logan.
And I'm Luke.
And today we're going to be going over some stuff about the X-Men, because we've done a lot of other superhero stuff, but we haven't touched on the X-Men.
Yeah, so I think up until now, specific superheroes and groups we've touched on are like Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, and we've done a great deal of talking about superheroes, but it is time that we delve into the X-Men. So, do you have an X-Men movie that is your favorite among all of what you could consider mutant X-Men kind of movies?
I think my favorite among the mutant and X-Men movies, I'm a big Days of Future Past guy, which most people are.
Yeah.
I do love Days of Future Past. It's probably one of the strongest out of all the X-Men stuff. I will say, this is a hot take because a lot of people hate this movie. But as far as like mutant stuff goes, I really loved New Mutants. Like, I liked the style of New Mutants. I think if that movie weren't a victim of, the COVID era and getting rushed to be finished and all that, it would have ended up a lot better than it did. But yeah, I don't know. Ever since I watched New Mutants, like before it came out and I saw the trailer for it and everything, I was like, dude, that's gonna be awesome. And like, yeah, it was a little disappointing when I saw it, and it was, rushed. It felt rushed. The story felt rushed, but I mean that's kind of what you expect when the COVID era hit. But yeah, I really liked that movie, and I'm not saying anything about like the other X-Men movies because like I like all the X-Men-ish kind of mutant movies and all that, but I really enjoyed, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was just like kind of like the different style, like the different approach that it had, more like horror movie-ish, but yeah.
Sure. I enjoyed when you showed me the horror movie aspect of it. I did also feel like it was rushed because isn't only like an hour and a half or something, and I don't have like a good recollection even of what exactly is going on, but I remember I liked kind of how they explored into some more obscure mutant abilities, and I remember thinking that magic was cool, the way that they did her in that movie.
That was pretty sick.
But yeah, I think it's sad nothing will come of that, because that was like, it was just interesting in terms of what we'd seen with mutants previously. But I agree that my favorite X-Men movie, and it's actually probably one of my favorite superhero movies, is Days of Future Past. And the first time I watched that, I'm not like the biggest X-Men guy around. Like, I've always liked them, but they've never been what I go to for superhero stuff a lot. But when I watched Days of Future Past for the first time, I had no idea what the Sentinels were. So I was watching it and thinking, oh, like, they're screwed. They can't beat this at all. And I think that movie did a really good job of using time travel, and it was cool. It was just that X-Men First Class had come out, so it was like those versions of those characters were still new. But then, since I've watched that and have like, if you start from the beginning of the X-Men movies and go movie by movie by release date, it's what I feel like is what everything builds up to in terms of like what an Avengers movie should be. So I really enjoy that, and I feel like that movie adds to the other X-Men movies as well. And I think it's a great payoff to a lot of things that previously happened in other X-Men movies.
Yeah, I agree. And I think another mutant X-Men movie that is very popular, it's pretty good. I personally did not understand the hype for this movie as much. I liked it. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, but Logan, it's like in a lot of people's like top 5 superhero movies and stuff like that. And like, I mean, I understand it. Like, it's about Wolverine and stuff, and like the story's pretty good, but I just the the hype itself around the movie, like so many people still talk about like how much they love Logan and all that. Like it's all right.
It's cool. It takes that old West vibe and puts it into a superhero movie properly. I also have felt that way about that movie. I feel like by the time it gets to the third part of that movie, where it's getting towards the end and there's all the like new generation of mutants and stuff coming in, I always am just kind of thinking, like, okay. I also agree. I don't see the huge appeal of it, but at the same time, I also understand like people who grew up with Hugh Jackman as their Wolverine, like as their main superhero guy, that it's a big deal, and it's still a good movie, and I like the Professor X stuff that goes on, and just the struggle of what's going on, and I think a strength of that movie is that it doesn't shy away from following like a very dark comic book storyline.
Yeah,
which is
that is pretty good. I think as far as stories go, like traditional comic book stories, are they're never bad. But also when they do something a little different, like the darker storylines and stuff, it's always kind of a breath of fresh air.
Sure.
I think another movie that I really liked, but I understand why most people hated it, is I liked Apocalypse quite a bit, but I do understand that rather than being easily, defeated like that, Apocalypse should have been like a Thanos level, like, probably multi-movie threat.
Sure. Just absolutely. He should have been completely unstoppable. And even with how powerful he was in that, there's moments where he just gets his butt kicked.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't even be like that in what I've since learned about what he should be. But there's scenes where Quicksilver beats the crap out of him, and then Professor X and his mind even is gaining the upper hand on him, and they make it seem like it's just as... It's hard... It's a weird way of saying it, but it's just as easy to them as dealing with other threats from other movies. And it does just kind of seem like, oh, it's a big bad guy, like, let's kick his butt and deal with him and find out his weakness. And then it's really easy. But I do agree with you. That movie was really fun when I went and saw it, and it has really good action sequences in it.
I just feel like, if you know comics and stuff, you know what Apocalypse should be. And they did give him, a little bit of that. Like, his powers and stuff were cool. And the way that they explained him in the movie was pretty cool. Like, they gave him his kind of like backstory, his little bit of lore. But also, I'm like, the way that you explain him in the movie is way cooler than you actually made him in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, he should have been way more powerful. I mean, they even talk about him like he's like an insane threat and stuff, but then they beat him kind of easily. So I'm like, man.
I think the concept is cool of what he's after in the movie is and this is something I like about Professor X a lot, is that Apocalypse wants him because he knows how powerful he'd be to be able to touch like every mind on Earth. So I liked that his plan is not just like, oh, I'm gonna destroy all the other mutants or stuff. It is like world domination, but it's very specifically because of an X-Men's power. And I feel like when I've watched that since then, that shouldn't have been the main introduction to the Phoenix Force being used, because it just feels like a cop-out of that's how they beat him.
Yeah.
But, I like his motive in that movie. I just agree he's not nearly as powerful or scary as he should be.
I think now would be a good time to talk about the X-Men, where it's going now, because they just recently revealed the little teaser for Cyclops and Doomsday.
Yep.
As well as Professor X. And I think, we all knew that it was happening, because we saw Beast, at the end of what was that?
It was like the second Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah. So we saw Beast there, and then when they done the cast reveal, a bunch of the old X-Men were in it for Doomsday.
Sure.
But yeah, no, the official reveal, Cyclops looked awesome.
Oh yeah,
freaking cool.
Where he's screaming and blasting lasers into the sky. It's cool to see more of the original X-Men, like knowing that more of the original ones are coming back apart from, oh, it's Professor X again, or it's Wolverine again.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll be in it. But it's cool, we're going to probably get most of the original ones. Because I think they also said, it's cool we have Magneto back. I think they also said there's going to be, like, Mystique is going to be in it. I don't know if they said Storm yet. But, and the guy who plays Nightcrawler is also confirmed to be in it.
Yeah.
Which, I think Nightcrawler is one of my favorite X-Men characters, because I think he's just so cool.
Yeah, no, I think Nightcrawler is really awesome. Yeah. Speaking of favorites, who do you think your favorite X-Men characters are, apart from Nightcrawler?
If I had to narrow it down to a top 3, I like Wolverine. I wish that there was more time with him in the full suit in the movies, because I watched the X-Men cartoons back in the day where he has his actual suit and think that just looks really cool. I've always really liked Professor X, and I also like Nightcrawler and Magneto a lot. There's not really any I dislike. There's some where I feel like there's not a lot of room for them to like grow, like Cyclops, because he just shoots lasers, and other than that, he's like the leader, and sure, he has like important places in it, but I always feel like as the leader, he's always going up against stuff he can't handle.
Yeah.
And I've also always liked Storm a lot, because I think it's just a cool use of weather powers. Yeah.
I think as far as like the movies and stuff, I really like. I mean, how can you not like Hugh Jackman Wolverine? I like Wolverine quite a bit. I like Beast. I think Beast is kind of underrated.
Beast is underrated, yeah.
What else? I've always thought that Colossus was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's just kind of just like, big, strong, made of metal. It's what you would expect. But he's always, I don't know, his character's always pretty cool. He has like the like, I don't know. Well, when he's like younger in like First Class and before like the Deadpool version, he's kind of all right.
Yeah.
But
he's not really. He's kind of just background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But him and Deadpool, I always thought was super cool.
Yeah. I always have liked, except I still feel like he hasn't properly been done, even though they're kind of leaning more towards it now, is Juggernaut hasn't. Like, they show in Deadpool 2, because he's a big part of what's going on in that, like, full-scale, big, beefy Juggernaut. But I want, the red armor, sleeveless Juggernaut. I can't believe that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's such a... I mean, yeah, he's called Juggernaut for a reason. He's completely unstoppable, and that's just... How can you not... I think having that side by side with Magneto and, like, the evil mutants and stuff should be very central to a lot of those movies, because he should just be the ultimate tank supportive villain. And there's so many X-Men that it would be great to see him fight, and also just with more Marvel becoming more and more integrated of getting all their characters in one spot, having him fight like Hulk or the Thing and stuff would be amazing.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. And I think it's kind of a shame that they haven't done him real justice. I mean, back in the day, they just kind of had a buff dude.
Just a big guy, yeah.
And then in Deadpool, he gets electric cable shoved up his butt and thrown into a pool.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I don't think they've done him a lot of justice. I want to see real, like, menacing, which the Deadpool version was menacing. Like, he was threatening, but, like, I want to see, like, the actual, like you said, full, red get up, working with the evil mutants and everything, like, as it would be in, like, the comics.
Yeah. Cool. I know, too, and this is still, I haven't read, like, a ton of X-Men comics, but I know he has a lot of lore and, like, backstory with Professor X, and he just has a very interesting backstory to the other X-Men and stuff, and I just think that I'd like to learn more about that, because I don't know a lot about that, but I know it's something that I'd like to see a lot more of, and it's disappointing to me that with how many X-Men movies there's been, he's kind of shown up twice and has just been like a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is gonna happen in Doomsday with the X-Men characters? I mean, because I know this is supposed to be like the end of the multiversal saga and all that. So I'm
Well, the rumors that I think could end up being what's going on, except I don't know how this would go with other rumors of what's going on, is with Doomsday being about a bunch of different universes colliding, is what it sounds like it's leading towards, which makes sense. It seems to me like it's gearing up to be that the X-Men are going to have direct conflict with other superhero teams of like, well, we don't want to die, so we're going to fight to make sure our universe isn't destroyed, and if that ends your universe, like, I'm sorry, but like... So I think that's going to be just a thing in Doomsday, is that nobody's necessarily going to be right, but they have to fight to at least stay alive. And then that's where I can see the ending being headed towards Battle World.
Yeah.
And in that regard, I think that would make that, like, anybody watching way more sympathetic to whatever Doom is going to be like in that movie.
Yeah. I've seen that quite a bit, and I think that is what would make the most sense, and I think that's the best way to do it without it being sloppy, I guess. Because I feel like unless you don't, like, they need to have like a fully fleshed out, like, this is what's happening, you know what I mean, like, here's why, here's how, like, you can't leave it to where there's like any guessing going on as to like what's happening. Like, they need it to be laid out very clearly. It needs, like, they need to elaborate on what's happening, like, not just one of those things where it's just like, here they are, they're fighting.
Yeah. Well, one rumor, and I think this sounds interesting, that I heard about what Doomsday could be like. First of all, I don't know if you've heard the rumor that this movie might be 3 hours and 46 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that. I've seen a lot of people who, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off, but I've seen a lot of people who have been talking about that online, and they're like, honestly, if it is like a 4 hour long movie, I would love that, because that just means for as many people that are in this, they'll make it to where it makes sense.
Yeah.
It won't feel rushed. So, I mean, I'm kind of on board with that.
A rumor I've heard with that is that with that many people in it, I don't think there's necessarily a scenario where everybody is all in one spot all at once. Maybe until the end of the movie. But a rumor I've heard of how the movie could go is that it could be, and I don't remember where I saw this, but that it might be split up into 5 different acts. So each act is the same story from the perspective of a different team. But it could also be, it would have to be that Doom is able to be at each of these, so they wouldn't be going on at the same time. I'm assuming he's going to be after something, either one thing that each team would encounter him while he's in pursuit of it, or he goes somewhere where each team is for some reason. But I could see that laying a lot of groundwork for why, he goes here and kicks a bunch of butt, and everybody's like, oh gosh, what do we even do? And then it being, well, this is going to end our universe, and there not being enough time for them to hash it out of like a plan of how to take him down. and instead turning to just utter like survival mode against each other. And I think that would be in keeping it on theme with the X-Men, I think that would be a really interesting thing for Magneto and Professor X, who it seems like will probably end up working together again in this, to kind of struggle with, is because I don't think Magneto, he does some evil things, but I don't think of him necessarily as just this straight up evil person.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously, like Professor X, they always try to find like the best solution. So I think if that's the best solution they've got, it's going to be a really difficult struggle for them to figure out how to manage that.
Yeah, I agree. I think out of the teasers that have come out so far, I really do think that, like, you know, that Steve Rogers one, which you're like, oh yeah, like, he hasn't been in anything in a while, you know what I mean? So, like, obviously, Steve is coming from somewhere, you know, some other multiverse, but that's cool. You see Thor, and you're like, okay, Thor's gonna be back. That's kind of expected.
Yeah.
The X-Men, when everybody kind of freaked out over, because they're like, oh wow, you know what I mean? The OG cast is coming back. Like, there they are, Professor X, Magneto, Cyclops. Like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, which, you know, pretty cool. But I think one of the most interesting ones was the most recent one, because it had who all was it?
Like the Fantastic Four and Wakanda?
Yeah. It had Shuri and Baku, Namor, and the Thing, and I was like, I mean, I guess like Shuri and Baku and Namor, sure, but I'm like, what is the Thing doing here?
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
Yeah, that's why I could see some just really strange team ups happening.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of going into what I was saying of like, there's gonna be weirdly placed teams that aren't necessarily with each other. Like, I don't think, for us talking about it being everybody thrown together and stuff, I could see it being a thing where it's going from like group to group to group to group, and then because it's an Avengers movie, the last group standing up, like, that's still going is the Avengers, like the real Avengers. But I could see it being, I assume, I don't know why, I feel like it'll probably start with the Thunderbolts. But, you know, it's gonna go from person to person to person. I feel like the X-Men will become a major part of it in probably more the middle.
Yeah.
And then I think it's probably gonna turn into a big conflict of that nobody can stop Doom, but they know that he's close to whatever he wants, so it is gonna be like a whoever wins survives.
I am curious too, in that regard, like what the power scaling will be like in this movie, because obviously it's seeming that Doom is going to be insane.
Yeah. Well, I'm scared honestly, because I'm thinking, I didn't like Thor: Love and Thunder, but Thor at this point is insanely powerful, and I don't think he's going to be enough.
Yeah. Well, because it seems that Doom's going to be absolutely insane, but also you got to think about like who else we have. Like, the X-Men themselves are pretty insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Namor's kind of insane. We have Sentry, who, if he can get his stuff under control, is absolutely insane.
Yep. Well, the rumor about him is that he's going to actually be a very major part of the movie, which I'm excited to see what that means, if that's true. But that could also be very bad if Doom finds out how to get him under his control or bring out Void at the wrong time. That'd be bad. Well,
and then the other thing is, if they do him justice, like he is in the comics, they're about to introduce Wonder Man, who's insane.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where this, like, who are all these, what are all these people going to be doing, and where's the power scaling going to go with this? Like, is it going to be like one of those things where it's kind of like spread out, so there's like one super strong dude in each one of these like scenarios, or is it like, you know, what ends up happening if it is like kind of what you say, like different like team ups and stuff? Then you get like Sentry and Thor on one side of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One part of the same team, or, you know,
that's honestly,
Sentry and Wonder Man together. Like, what happens then?
Yeah, that's what I expect the most, because I don't see with how fast it's going to be, even if it is 3 hours and 46 minutes. I don't see a scenario where the whatever version of the X-Men universe is going to come to the main MCU, them having the time to, in an organized effort, be like, okay, get the Avengers, Fantastic Four, Wakandans, whatever maybe potential members of the Guardians of the Galaxy are around, and scattered Avengers and whatever, and be like, guys, our whole universe is here. I don't see that playing out like that. So the biggest way I see it, and that it seems the X-Men are, compared to all these other people that are at least in the same universe, are kind of like the removed universe. I think that that's where I see a lot of possible potential conflict between them and everybody else, unless it's just that Doom is going to be in direct conflict with both of them separately, and then they'll start to be like, wait a minute, we can help each other.
Yeah. I think, I hope that whatever is happening with the X-Men, it's not going to be one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, something bad, like Doom done something and something bad happens, so now the X-Men are kind of just thrown into this and they have no idea what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that it's like pretty organized in the way that it's like, here are the members of the X-Men that are either still alive or still here doing whatever, and like they're with each other. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be one of those things where it's like, you know, Magneto's doing this with, you know, whoever, and then, you know, Professor X is with the Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? Like, I want the X-Men to be kind of cohesive. As like, well, we gotta, like, you know, figure out what this is, like, with ourselves and whoever can help us.
Yeah, and yeah, because otherwise I feel like when the X-Men are together, they're like really strong, but then when they're separate or with other team members, it doesn't feel right almost. Yeah. So when we were watching like Multiverse of Madness, and it's like Professor X is part of like the equivalent of that universe's Avengers and stuff, I was like, this just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But when they're all together, and it's been a long time since it's been the X-Men team strong like that, you know? I'll talk about one more thing regarding the X-Men that's just a rumor for right now, and it's not about Doomsday, is the most recent rumor I have seen is that Sadie Sink in Spider-Man Brand New Day will be Jean Grey.
Yeah, I've seen that. And I'm like, I wouldn't hate that necessarily, but also I'm like, what on earth would you be doing there? Like, Spider-Man, Punisher, Hulk, Jean Grey.
Yeah.
What? You don't need to be there.
Well,
unless it's about that, like maybe the story centers around her or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of want it to be more. I mean, we've talked about it before. We want that movie to be more Spider-Man centric, and having Punisher and Hulk be big parts of it is already some huge elements of other stuff being in it. And it's like, just to throw Jean Grey into that also has an incredible amount of questions and implications, because that movie will come out before Doomsday, of like, what the heck is happening with that?
Yeah. You know? That would be extremely odd. Also, that part, out of the people who are returning for their past roles in Doomsday, like James Marsden, you know, all of the OG X-Men, apparently, from what I've seen, the actress that played Jean isn't going to be in it, like, pretty much confirmed. Some people have been like, no, that's not true, whatever. But I've seen that she's not going to be in it at all, which I'm like, And then I saw that about the Sadie Sink Jean Grey stuff, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
so I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that's really not the case, because I don't know. Like, that just seems messy.
That does, and we still don't even know who the bad guy is going to be for that movie. But yeah, that's just...
It feels like, from all the rumors and stuff too, like, if there's all this happening and then the person that Spider-Man ends up fighting is like Scorpion, I'm gonna be like, well, what's all this for? What's the rest of this?
Yeah, but yeah, in terms of X-Men, I like that it looks like they're ramping up to be a very important part of Avengers Doomsday. I just hope, specifically with that movie, that it's still at its core like an Avengers thing and not like a Avengers, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Guardians of the Galaxy, Loki, and whoever he's with and stuff like that. Like, I want it to feel like at the center of everything, like the Avengers are the ones leading the charge. Yeah. Not to say I don't like the X-Men and they can't be like an equal part of it, but yeah.
I do think in Doomsday, like, I agree that I want it to be like Avengers focused. But also, and like, it's kind of what I said before, how I want the X-Men to all like work together and do their thing as like a cohesive group. But like, I want it to be one of those things too, where it's like the X-Men universe is somehow going to enter the mainline MCU universe.
Yeah.
And it's crossed a little bit already with like Wolverine and Deadpool, and then Beast and the post-credit scene and all that. But like, I want this to be one of those things where it's like, we are seeing this happen. Like, somehow they're all crossing paths, and I'm hoping it's like what you said, where it's like the X-Men world universe is ending and they're trying to stop it or whatever, and that's why. Like, I want it to be something like that, where it's like, all right, they're acknowledging that this is like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And it's lining up with, the mainline MCU. Like, this is like something that needs to happen.
Well, that's just the best way I see it, feeling like the stakes of that movie are actually really high, is that whatever's going on with Doom, I think somebody will become aware of what he wants, and I'm probably expecting it to be like Reed Richards or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that no, they're not going to have enough time to stop him, so it's going to just be we need to be the ones left standing. So I don't think it's going to be anybody's fighting because they hate each other. It might become that if some bad things happen between them, but I think it's going to be like it's you or us kind of thing.
I also, in the teaser, the X-Men teaser, it seems like it looked like everything was destroyed.
Yeah.
And I was curious. I'm like, I want to know. I mean, it's hard telling what's going to happen because we don't even know who's doing what at that point. But, like, I'm kind of curious. I really want to see, like, when that happens. Like, I want that to be, like, a whole thing. I don't want it to be a thing, like, where it just, happened off screen and then, like, you come to the aftermath. Like, I want to see that happen, because I'm sure that would be really, whoever it is who done it.
Something got Cyclops all riled up there, so we don't know yet.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that's because a lot of like the Infinity War stuff, it kind of happened like that, where it happened off screen and you see the aftermath, and like that's fine. But like, I'm hoping with stuff like that, like whatever it is that goes on, like they show it. It's not like, oh yeah, by the way.
Yeah.
Everything's terrible now, and this is what happened. Like I want to see whoever, whether it be Doom or what. Well, people are speculating like Captain Hydra and something like that. Like I want to see that.
In that specific scene where everything's burning down and Cyclops is screaming, I had this pointed out. I think it was by like a TikTok video or something. In the background of that, you can see a comic book accurate Sentinel leg like walking between the shadows. Like the really big ones.
Yeah.
Like you can see it's like walking back there. And that just is interesting to me because I'm thinking, why would the Sentinels be involved in this? At all, because they don't have anything to do with Doom, and I don't see why Doom would concern himself with them.
Well, that's weird, because now that makes me think, like, what if that's just like a whole like other X-Men side plot thing? I
could see that just being like, here's the history of this X-Men universe that's gonna show up.
I don't know. Hopefully that's not the case. I would want something better than that, to be honest, but I don't know. Now that makes me kind of worried, because I'm like, I don't want that to just be like a random X-Men subplot. Like, I feel like the X-Men should be involved, like, with what's going on, like, presently.
Yeah. But yeah.
Do you have anything else to discuss with the X-Men? There's a lot of questions about the X-Men.
There are. I mean, ever since they had the introduction of like what's going on and all that, and I mean also they confirmed like the movie and everything that so after Doomsday, there's supposed to be one more Avengers movie.
Secret Wars.
Yeah, Secret Wars, and then they start anew with the X-Men movie. I think, right? Pretty sure.
Maybe.
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the X-Men movie is supposed to be the first thing after the first thing in the new phase. But yeah, a lot of questions that we will not have the answer to until December. So
yeah. Well, I honestly kind of expect at the end of Spider-Man: Brand New Day the post credit or whatever to be something about Doomsday.
Yeah.
Or okay, well also and it's like specific to that, so I won't like go too far into it. I've heard the rumor being of that movie. There's like a storyline with Punisher and Spider-Man where like Spider-Man dies, but the symbiote brings him back, and that it could be leading to that as why Spider-Man wouldn't be in Doomsday, but that he might come back in Secret Wars to have the symbiote suit after dying in his own movie. And I'm like, that works.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
But if the Sadie Sink is Jean Grey thing turns out to be true, I just don't know how that's going to play into what the heck is happening in Doomsday.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it is a multiversal thing, so maybe that could be the mainline MCU Jean Grey. Yeah. And then, somehow, I don't know, maybe the Phoenix Force will recognize that and be like,
yeah, could be. All right. Well, I think that finishes off for X-Men.
Yep.
Yep. This has been the Mild Opinion Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.